Greeting, Liberty students. This is Dr. Greg Stevens. I'm the instructor for your section of the Book of Acts. And this is what I really look like, good or bad. But I thought you might enjoy having some video announcements rather than just text and emails and everything. This way you know there is an actual talking head, at least, if not a real person back here, rating your work and interacting with you in emails and phone calls and so forth. You've gotten through the first week's work, and I'll be grading that this week. Hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday you'll have everything back from me. And do take note of any feedback that I might send with that. Also, we'll read the grading rubrics and take note of these and make the improvements. With regard to the thematic panel, after I've gotten everybody's first thematic panel turned in, I'll be posting with the other thematic panels under course content and then assignments and thematic panels. There'll be one there called the example sample, and that will be a copy of the first week's thematic panel filled out in an optimum way. So do take time to look at that if you're still struggling with this assignment and how to fill it out. Pay attention to the example sample, pay attention to any feedback I give you on your first one. Read the instructions again. If you're having any real trouble with these, do feel free to call me. I can walk you through verbally, and sometimes that helps as well. But don't call until you have looked at the example sample and you've looked at the feedback and see if you think you can work your way through it. And then if you are still confused or stuck, feel free to give me a call. You've got information there on your research paper, and there's a suggested list on Blackboard, again in the assignments under research paper. There's all kinds of information there about it, so be sure you download and look over all those. There's a schedule for your research paper. By the end of week 3, you'll have your information preparation to me. Again, when you fill that out, be sure to read the instructions and follow them. You can get a good grade on all of this if you'll just read, understand, and work in accord with the instructions each time. So in week 3, you're going to turn in your information preparation to me. Then in week 5, you'll be turning in your completed outline, or at least your working outline. And then in week 8, you'll be turning in your full paper. Now keep in mind the 5 to 8 pages of this paper, that has to do with the body of the paper, the introduction through the conclusion. In addition to that, you probably have the outline, a title page, and bibliography. But the content of the paper, the body of the paper, what you're writing as the content of your paper is to be 5 to 8 pages. No less than 5, no more than 8. That's a full 5 pages minimum, no more than 8 pages maximum. And of course, that's double-spaced. Your work this week for week 2 is as follows. You have the reading Pole Hill. If you've got the hard copy, it's pages 77 through 147. If you have the electronic copy, it's from the Spirit Empowers the Church for Witness up to section 4, the Prayer of the Community. You'll be covering you're reading up to 423 through 31 in the textbook. Your reading in the Bible is from chapter 3 through chapter 6. So those don't quite coincide, but follow the reading as it's given there. The reason for the different content there for hard copy, electronic copy, that's actually the same reading content. This course was created before the electronic copy was available, and so you had the hard copy pagination, and when the electronic copies were made available, there was no indication of what the reading was, because we weren't aware that there were no pages indicated in the electronic copy. Down below this announcement, there is a whole compilation for the entire textbook, correlating the hard copy and electronic copies. So you might want to copy and paste or download that chart there. You've also got a presentation to watch on the ascension, the spirit, and the opposition. There may be some additional items to watch there when you get in there in the course. You need to complete a discussion board, Forum 1. And again, let me encourage you, be sure to look at the grading rubric, all the instructions for doing the discussion board. You should document sources in your discussion board post. Students often forget to do that, and it must be done according to Turabian style. So do take note of that, because it does bear on your grade on your discussion board. So read through those instructions that are there under course content assignments. You'll see a section that says discussion board. There's a grading rubric and instructions there. These announcements will stay on the announcement area of Blackboard, so you can always go back and look at these again. Be mindful of the module schedule. We are in week 2 now of 8 weeks, so at the end of this week, we're already a quarter done. So take note of that. If you have any questions, if there's possibly any confusion, do feel free to contact me by email. I usually respond very quickly, and in those cases where you really need to get a hold of me, do feel free to call if you really need to. Please do be mindful. My office hours are 9 to 5 and 7 to 9. That's Eastern time, so adjust accordingly if you're calling from another time zone. And if there's a time zone problem where you can't get a hold of me when I'm available normally, shoot me an email and we'll make arrangements to contact one another. You also want to take note of the other announcement that's there on the Liberty trip to the United Kingdom in the spring break. So take note of that. I would skim through other announcements here just to be sure you're up to speed on everything that's been given. Trust you have a good week of study, and looking forward to seeing your work. God bless.